Hello, guys. So I'm gonna wait a little bit. Actually, I think this is maybe a little too bright. There we go. Gonna wait a little bit for everybody to kind of get on here. But tis I, Brooke, and it is time for our live. I'm gonna go over the results of my business. And so, wait a minute. Hold on for a second. What do I do here? I'm going to check everything to make sure showing up on YouTube. View my channel. Let's say. I can't hear anything. Oh, okay. It's working. I can't hear anything. Okay, so I am live, and so I think I'm the only person watching right now. So anyway, guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Brooke, and you're watching The Vintage Gardener and Jay. So anyway, many of you guys may not know this, but I started a business this year called Peonies, Petals, and Posies. And so, hi, Chickadee Corner. Okay, I got one person on here. I always feel like sometimes I feel like I'm talking to myself. um, so anyway, this is my first season doing Peonies, Petals, and Posies. And so I did a three video series on things I wish I had known before starting a going to a farmer's market. And so if you guys want to go and jump over in there, because I break it down pretty well in terms of all the things you need to know about joining a farmer's market. So there was some highs, there were some lows to the season. For those of you guys who haven't seen the videos, I did not get the market that I wanted for the entire season. I was given the option to do the preseason market because I was told that there was no space. Eventually, I did get a little bit more space in that one market, but I did kind of like a flea market thing, but then I also did this one town, and it ended up being not a right fit for me at all. And as a matter of fact, I canceled, ended up canceling a lot of dates at that particular market because I just wasn't making any money. And I had paid up front for all of those dates. And of course, when you go to those things, you obviously want to make enough to cover your booth. And at a certain point in time, I wasn't even doing that. So I did kind of deck out early. And I felt horrible because I'm the type of person, if I say I'm going to do something, you know, I gave my word, but on the other hand, I need to actually make profit. Hi, Happy Mac. How are you? A happy Sunday to you too. So anyway, I finished the season. And so I'm going to go over the season results with you guys. And so that way I can show you how much I sold, how it broke down. I used the Square. I use Square as my POS system. And so that worked really well because it keeps track of a lot of things that you do. Actually, it keeps track of everything you do. And I think it's going to be very valuable, especially next year, because I'm expanding into Pennsylvania and my I've got my business registered in Pennsylvania. I've already got my nursery license over there. And so I didn't use all the functionality of Square like I should have. Like you can create different like stores. So for every location, I can create a store, and that way, I can tell, like, for example, maybe certain things sell better at certain markets, and that way I can adjust what I'm taking with me. Um, Happy Max says, bless you for doing this. I want so badly to settle farmers market and I don't want to fail. You know what, Happy Mac? I don't know what your financial situation is. Chickadee says, "Oh, PA doing markets are fair." Yes. So I talked to one lady, and I'm gonna be doing a pop up at the Wrightstown Farmers Market. That's in is in Bucks County. The other one I'm gonna also try to do a couple in is the Yardley Farmers Market. They're not too far away from each other. So I'm hoping. So with one, I know I should be able to pop up, and so I'll be announcing that. I'm actually going to do some more marketing this year, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. But Happy Mac, I started doing this now because the way I look at it is that, I mean, anytime you start a business, it's always a couple years because you have to build a following. And right now, I have a job, so it's not like critical that I do this. But I know at a certain point in time, especially once I get a farm, I'm going to want to be able to kind of hit the ground running, kind of already have that market base built up rather than kind of starting from scratch. Certain things I know will be easier when I have a farm because, if I have a farm and I have my own farm stand, I'm not limited in what I can sell. I can sell whatever I want because it's a garden center. People are um coming and that sort of thing. So Happy Max says, I barely have two nickels to rub together a present. Okay. Um yeah, so I don't Happy Mac, I don't know if you've seen the videos. If you go to my channel and just look at I think it's the last three videos that I've done, it's all the things to keep in mind when you're doing a farmer's market because there are a lot of expenses and kind of hidden expenses that you may not think of because some of them, first off, you have to pay for your booth. The other thing is that you have to get like, especially depending upon what you're selling, if it's like something that it's edible or some, meaning that you eat it. I'm not talking about edibles. Like something that's you eat or something that's topical that you put on your skin. A lot of places require that you have a liability policy of like $1 million. And some places just require that you do that anyway. So there is a lot of things to keep in mind. And and some markets are better at promoting kind of I think they do a better job of making sure that everybody is different and some don't. So you definitely need to visit a number of farmers markets to figure out what is the best fit for you. And I so uh, have my accent. Like, yes, I'm in upstate New York, and there are rules of plenty. Yeah, there are, and especially because some of the farmers markets, I know in where I live, a lot of the farmers markets are getting environmental credits, and because the environmental credits are from the federal government, it's very regimented. So let me see if I can share my screen here, and let's see, did I do it? No, I didn't do it. Okay, I share screen. And I'm going to see window. Okay. So let me see if I can, hopefully this looks right. Okay. So the 2024 season results from Peonies, Petals, and Posies and today's date. So next one. And so I said, I'm not going to tell you my revenue. Sorry, guys. I know some of you guys are probably hoping I would tell you. I'm not going to tell you that because, well, first things first, because it ain't none of your business. And I don't mean that in a mean way. But the other thing is that, how much you make at a farmer's market depends upon what you're doing. A food vendor, like for example, there's this one girl at a farmer's market who does empanadas. It's just, and we're at a specific market, so we just do very differently. So what I do with specialty plants isn't going to necessarily going to be a reflection of what you do because I don't know what you're doing. If you're doing fruits or vegetables, or even if you're doing plants, if you're just going for more, you know, basic varieties, you may do a lot better than what I did because I knew I was going in for specialty and high-end stuff. So I think everybody wants to know, well, how many plants did I actually sell? I definitely had way too many plants this year. And how many did I sell? Well, I love these effects, by the way. I sold 486 plants. So I am proud of myself because I've never sold plants before. So that was pretty exciting to see. I know if I had gotten to stay at the one market I wanted to for the entire season, that number would have been a lot higher. But you know what? This was nothing to be ashamed of. So first things first, let's talk about the peonies, because certain things definitely I sold a lot of. So with the peonies, I ordered a total of 40 peonies. I did 10 of each variety ordered, but of course, some things were not available, so I had to get substitutions. So I ended up with three Francois de Jars. I ended up with seven Nippin' Beauty. I ended up with 10 Rebel Tree Peonies, and I ended up with 10 Burnished Bronze, and then 10 Lafayette Escadrille intersectional peonies. Now, how many of those did I sell? So I'm excited because I sold all three of the Francois de Jars. I sold all seven of the Nip and Beauty because what happened is they ran out of the Francois de Jars. They only had three, so um, I replaced seven. I sold out of all the Nip and Beauty. I of the Rebel Tree Peonies, only 8 of the 10 sprouted, but I did sell out of all 8. I sold 8 of the Escadrille Lafayette Escadrille. 2 were they were just really small, and so I was just like, I can't put these out there because people are gonna be like, "I'm paying all this money for this little thing." And the one thing I left off of here, and I'm so embarrassed, is that I sold all of the burnished bronze peony. That was a very popular one. Okay, so let's talk about heirloom chrysanthemums because some of the you guys who've been following me on, uh, you know, YouTube know I have a thing for heirloom chrysanthemums. So I had 50 total mums. I had 10 of each variety. And in case you guys were wondering, the chrysanthemum on the screen is peaches and cream. I That's just my personal one. But I had 10 of Sozon, uh, Doreen Stratham, Garnet King, Mocha. This was a replacement because I had ordered Lily Gallon, which was an exotic class one. Think it probably would have sold very, very well. And then I had Oriental Night. And so uh, I sold, let's see, of all of them, I sold 8 Garnet Kings, and like I said, I had 10 of them. I only sold 1 Sozon. Um, I think with the Sozon, it's anemone flowering, and I think if it had actually been in bloom, people would have liked it. But I think for a lot of people, it looked too much like the typical garden mum you gotta get out of Walmart, and so they weren't interested. I sold 3 of the Doreen Stratham, 3 of the Oriental Night, and 6 of the Mocha. The Garnet King, I sold the most of because the one claim to fame I have with that one is that Garnet King was featured at Longwood Garden in their Chrysanthemum Festival in 2022. And as soon as I was giving the whole spiel about, oh, these are the type of chrysanthemums you would see at Longwood. Oh, and by the way, this one was at Longwood in 2022. Everybody kind of ran to that end of the table. And so they were like, oh, yeah, I definitely want that one. So something I'll keep in mind for next year. Okay, so then I did some dahlias. I had 12 total plants. I had 4 of each variety. And so I had tartan, Rocco, and Natal. Now, tartan is a dinner plate. Rocco and Natal, one of them, they're both round shape. One of them was a pom pom, and the other one was a ball. I can't remember which one. So how many did I sell? Well, I sold 2 of each of the varieties, so half of them. I think well, first off, Rocco and Natal looked a whole lot alike, and Tartan looked different, but it was just kind of well, it is. I think by the time the thing is when by the time I brought the dahlias out, I was at the non-favorable market, and so I just didn't sell a lot of anything. So I think if I had been at my preferred market, I probably would have sold just about all of them. So, top selling items. So we're gonna go through this. So I'm sure you guys want to know what things sold most. So I did combine annuals and perennials in this one. So let's take it from the top. First one, I sold the most of cappuccino rudbeckia. I sold 40 of those. People loved the color. Then after that came chocolate ranunculus. Oops, I misspelled ranunculus. Um, I sold a lot of that at my primary, the first market I went to, and I think I would have, if I'd stayed there longer, I would have sold more of that. But everyone loved the color. Then I sold 35 of the Black Knight Scabiosa. Everyone loved the bloom on it. And I sold 32 of the vintage brown stock. Of the lupine, I sold 32 Morello cherry lupine. And then let's see. With the in terms of the sunflower, chocolate cherry sunflower, I sold the most of. I sold 30. Everybody was very taken with that one. And then of the sweet pea, I sold 25. And yeah, that was, I'm trying to think. People at the early market liked it. Um, but the people at the second market just weren't interested, even when they saw it blooming. Then it kind of drops dramatic. Oh, you know what? I remember when I was doing this list, I was adding things onto it because I did it in like, chronological, not chronological, but from like most to least. So king size fireball straw flower, I sold two. And then Pro Cut Red Sunflowers, I sold 4. Let's see, continue. So the Cognac Animation Snapdragon, that was kind of like a bicolor pink and yellow. I sold 22 of those. And then the Roseanne Brown Lisianthus, I sold 21. Actually, no, I think it was 22 because I scanned something wrong, but it was 22. And then let's see, with the Quartet Red Purple Sock, I sold 15. And then with the Meteor Xenia, that was a wine colored one. That was 15 of those. And then Cat's Ruby stock, I sold 14. And then let's see, the Ruby Sunflowers, I sold 11. And I didn't have as many of those. I want to say I had like 20. And quite frankly, the one groundhog got them. So I sold what the groundhog didn't get. So I think I actually sold I think I all but one of the ruby sunflower. And then let's see, Cosmos. Okay, so with Cosmos, I had 7 regular size, and then I had 4 of the Mother's Day specials, which were in the little smaller containers. And so there was that. And then, oh, I had Bloody Mary nasturtium, which I sold 10. And that was at the second market where I was, and people liked it there. But when I potted it up into something bigger, it was like when we got hit with the heat wave, and this, although nasturtiums say they're drought tolerant, they really aren't. And guys, I know I'm not really doing any questions right now, but it's just because the way my screens are set up, I can't actually see anything right now because of the slideshow. The Cafe Creme Foxglove, I sold 9. And then let's see, I had a red sunflower mix for Mother's Day. I sold 9 of those. Um, I did sell 7 of the Solway Red Celosia. And let's see, Potomac Red Snapdragons, I sold 7 of those. And let's see, so the Benares Giant Wine Xenia, I sold 6 of those. The Scarlet Flame Xenia, that was a kind of a reddish red with orange in it. That was part of the Mother's Day special little ones that I sold 6 of those. Um, I had some Europot annuals, so I was experimenting because I wanted to see if I had bigger pots with more than one plant in it, how would it sell? I sold 6 of those, and I think some of them were. I know one of them was Cosmos, the other one was not Foxglove, the Straw Flower and Snapdragons. I really should have, separated it out a little bit more, but those were actually really popular. People liked them. And then I did a velvet. It should say Costa, not Coast. It's an autocorrect fail. The Costa Summer Snapdragon, I sold 3. The Crimson King Basil, I only sold 3 of those. I had Mother's Day packs. It was like a pack of 18. I sold 2 of those. Um, I haven't seen the one woman that I sold it to, but the one of the women I sold one to, she's been to the market multiple times and she's told me how well it did. She absolutely loved it. With the chocolate sunflower, I sold 2 of those. And then Cerise Queen Yara, I only sold one of that. And then Benares Giant Deep Red, I only sold one. And then Bronze Queen Kosciana, I only sold one of those. Or you know what? I think that may have been one of the euros that I had. I think it was. I think it was in one of the euro pots. But yeah, I sold one of those. And so now let's talk about things that I did not sell. Okay, so Cafe Olay Salpoglossus. This was at the second market where I didn't do as well overall. People loved the color, but nobody bought it. I'm not really sure. I wasn't sure. I really thought because when I brought that one out for sale, it was in bloom. And I know sometimes when people see things blooming, they're like, "Oh my goodness, I have to have that." People loved the color. People were raving about the color. I don't know what it was. Nobody bought it. I'm not really sure why. The next thing is Jewels of Opar. Once again, I was at the second market. I never took it to the first market. I probably should have, but people thought it was really interesting looking. It has a succulent type leaves. Everyone thought it was interesting, but once again, nobody bought it. Then I had some Bee Haven salvia. I had that in like the Mother's Day smaller sizes. I think there were some in the Mother's Day kits, but the individual plants nobody bought. Then Hot Biscuits Amaranth. I love amaranth, and um, it was people looked at it. A lot of people were kind of going, "Wait, what is that?" The color threw people off. I do remember that there was this one younger guy and girl who were just like, the guy Googled it and he said, "Oh my gosh, it's supposed to be that color." So I think a lot of people may have thought that I was selling a plant that had a dead flower on it because of the color, and not realizing that that's actually the color of the bloom. So that was a little disappointing. And then Maryland Royal Snapdragon. Yeah, just uh I think that with the snapdragons, like I had a couple different varieties that would bloom during the season, but because people are so used to in my neck of the woods, them being like an early spring thing, I don't really think they understood the distinction. This is how you have blooms throughout the summer. So that's going to be an education thing on my part. And yeah, so that basically is how I did. Okay. So now let me go in and say hi to everybody because I know there's a lot of people who walked in and now I can see you guys. Okay, so hey Roxanne. Hi. I couldn't see you during the slideshow, but okay, so Happy Max says I can only sell fruits and vegetables and cut flowers. If I go outside of that, I have to have permits and licenses. I can't sell a single plant without getting permit. Listen, I got permit. So I do have a nursery license in New Jersey and I now have one in Pennsylvania. So yeah, with plants, you definitely have to have a license. Um, cut flowers though, you know what? Cut flowers may be your best bet because with cut flowers you're not eating because you're not eating them. Because like I said, with like the one market that I like being at, the one I wanted to. I even though I have although I have a liability policy, I wasn't required to have one since I'm selling plants. Um, but like if I did fruits or vegetables, I would have to have one. Let's see. Beautiful peonies. Wow. Yes. And the ones I have for next year are even better yet. So Chickadee Corner Cottage says 90% sell through on peonies is great. Yes, it was. So I was happy about that. And the tree peonies, like pretty much There were some people who followed me on Facebook who knew what tree peonies were, so they were like, "Oh my gosh, I have to have that." But a lot of people, tree peonies, this year was a complete revelation to them. They didn't even know they existed. And the thing is, I had interest in the tree peonies, but the thing is, I switched markets because some of the people were like, "Oh, I wasn't prepared for this today. Are you gonna be back?" And when I was like, "Well, I'll be at Haddonfield," they didn't wanna drive the distance. So hopefully next year I'll get, a regular spot, and hopefully that won't be um an issue. Hold on a second. You say, "Oh, the color on that." Hold on a second. What was the color on that? Oh, I guess the peony that was in the picture. I think that one was Francois de Jars. So yes. So and that was the other thing is that well, actually I'll talk about it later. I won't jump ahead of myself. um Happy Max is when it comes to your peonies, is that a 1 gallon container? No. I did 2 gallon containers. And I did 2 gallon containers because the place where I get my roots from, the roots were huge. They would not fit in a gallon size container. So the herbaceous peonies and the intersectional peonies were 2 gallon containers. The tree peony was actually in a 5 gallon container just because that's just how big the roots were. So that's why. So that's how I did it. Um, Happy Max says, I love tree peonies. Yeah, they're gorgeous. Like so many eh, so many so many people like I have tree peonies. They need to get bigger. I know this year there was a couple there's this one company that had little tree peonies. The only thing I find sometimes is that when I get them, they're not planted deeply enough with the graft, and so then the root the herbaceous roots kind of reassert itself. The ones I planted did. Obviously, I knew how. That's why I used a 5 gallon container because I made sure that stuff was so far under there that it's not going to sucker. Oh, you said you like the peachy pink chrysanthemum color. Yes, it's a very nice color. So I can't wait. I didn't plant it in the ground. I think what I'm probably going to do is put it in a bigger container and put it upstairs on my third floor because that doesn't have enough root mass to get it through the winter, and that's on me. So if I put it upstairs on my third floor, it'll be cool enough that it'll go dormant, but it won't die. Yes. I'm assuming you're talking about either the 2 gallon or the 5 gallon. Yeah, they were bigger containers, but you know what? It the roots were huge. So there was just no way to squeeze them into a gallon container. So that's why I did it that way. Okay, so I did, of course, I got feedback because I wanted to know like what should I do differently for, next year. And so the thing I heard from a lot of people is that they wanted more perennials. And so I do have more perennials. This year I was trying to do the whole like I was approaching it like a cut flower garden. With cut flower gardens, basically most of that stuff is annuals. And so that's how I approached it. But people did ask for more perennials. I did have at the end of the season, I had a lot of people coming up to me because my business name is Peonies, Petals, and Posies, going, "Oh my goodness, do you have peonies?" And I was like, "Oh, I sold out. I'm sorry." I said, "But I'll have some more next year." The thing that I'm going to do next year is that number one, my color scheme for next year is going to be different. So my color scheme, it's the Persian Garden collection. So it's going to be like a deep rose, a lighter pink, a cream, or like a light yellow, and like a green chartreuse type thing. And so it's because with going with wine and chocolate, especially when it came to the peonies, the color variations I think are a little bit more subtle. But the thing is, I did get things that bloomed at for different times, and unfortunately, that was lost on a lot of people. And so when I was explaining to them, hey, this one's an early, this one's a mid season. And I was explaining to people, hey, if you have enough varieties, you can have 8 weeks of blooms. But, because people are so used to the peonies that they see in the store, I think for a lot of people, they didn't understand how many different types of peonies were out there. And so it was really because like people were like, oh my goodness, well, I already have five. And I'm looking at it like, well, because they felt like, oh, well, I have five, that's enough. And I was like, yeah, I have over 100, like I have 8 weeks of blooms. And then kind of people kind of looked at me and then now, like I said, some people were just like, oh my gosh, I love peonies. I've never seen these varieties. But once again, that's an education thing on my part. I know that, if I want to sell more stuff, I'm going to have to build a market. And when you're doing something that's very unusual, there are people like me who have extensive plant collections that you ain't going to need to tell us twice. you know but for a lot of people, it's going to require a little bit more. It's going to require more education and, like, garden design and that sort of thing, and kind of getting people um in this area into gardening as opposed to landscaping, which is what people tend to do. um Wait a second. Said, did people snap up the stock? The scent is amazing. So they snapped up the vintage brown stock because that color was very different. The ruby cats and the red purple. I sold like 14 and 15 of one of, I think it was a 14 of one, 15 of the other. But I think for that, I think people just felt like, oh, well, you can just get stock. Now, obviously, the ones that I had were a lot taller, and so the people who did get it, because they understood it was a cut flower variety, it was going to be a lot bigger. They were happy with it. But for most people, like, once again, they don't understand. People sell stock in little tray things, but it's the dwarf thing. So like I said, this is the first time people are seeing it, and so they didn't really understand what's so different about what you have. And even though, like, for example, the one I was like, oh yeah, they have this in Longwood Garden. If you go there, see it, it still didn't translate for people. That's what I found. Let's see. What is my latest blooming peony? Ooh, that's a good question. It's one of the pink ones I have. Oh, are you talking about my garden or of the ones I sold? Because I think of the ones that I sold, I'm trying to think which one. I think the because intersectional peonies tend to bloom last. Usually it tends to be like, for example, I don't have any woodland peonies, but typically it's like woodland peonies, then tree peonies are next, and then herbaceous, and then intersectional. Now there can be, overlap depending upon varieties, but typically intersectional ones bloom last. Let's see. Yeah, that's all they sell here as well, dwarf stock. Stock can be huge. It can be. And the thing is, especially the ones that I have, those heads on them, because I actually had one that didn't sell that, and I don't even know how it got that big in that container. I mean, the head on it was absolutely, huge, but once again, if you've never seen it before, it's one of those things people just weren't interested in. Oh, so the latest blooming in my garden. I think it's one of the pink ones I have. I think it's called because actually some of my intersectional peonies, I have the earlier blooming ones. I think the last peony to bloom is typically the Jules dessert. It's a big pink one. It's very fragrant. I really like it. And she says, "Gotcha." I'm not really sure what that was a reference to. Um, yeah. So anyway, so yeah, so with the peonies for next year, I have there should be more of a bloom sequence. I'll have to check that. But one thing I noticed is that people were very attracted to unusual bloom shapes. And so with the peonies that I'm offering next year, there are definitely going to be some different bloom shapes. So I'm one of the ones I'm going to be offering, and I have this one in my garden. I've had it for a couple years that everybody loves. It's called Do Tell. And so it's pink, has pink outer petals, but it's got like kind of like darker pink and like cream light pink petaloids in the center. And so I have that. So I have that one, and then I have a white one, I think it's called Bride's Dream that's similar to that. And then I'm gonna do Green Lotus, and Green Lotus has a really funky shape. So, um, so that's gonna be so I think that's gonna get some attention. I noticed with this year with like for example the scabiosa when those were blooming that got so much attention because people had never seen a bloom like that, and that was everyone kept going, what is that? I can see that from over there. I will like, and especially because it's, scabiosa is a pincushion flower, so because of the little white dots in it, that just everybody was absolutely floored, which is one of the reasons why I sold so many of those. So I will have some other unusual bloom shapes, particularly the dahlias. Some of the ones I like, for example, I'm going to have. I saw an orchid flowering dahlia. I'm going to have the other one is this. It's like heavily lacinated type petals. I actually did show some of my customers a couple of pictures, and they were they were just about drooling. So definitely things with unusual bloom shapes. It definitely draws the eye and gets a lot of attention. The other things that oh, novelty plants. I said especially ones that you find at botanical gardens. When I was talking about the chrysanthemums, when I was talking about the garnet king, that like I said, as soon as I mentioned that something like this plant Longwood Garden had it, everybody's like, "Oh, well, I want to see. Let me see that one." And so there was a couple. I'm trying to think. There was something else I had. I know the kind of Chanticleer. And something else was at Longo, but I don't think I really highlighted that fact. But next year when because I had like little printouts with the pictures on it and kind of a description. Um, I'm definitely if there's one that I saw at a botanical garden, I'm definitely gonna say I saw it featured at this garden so that because I'm sorry, it sells. Like, for a person who's doing a garden, if they think they can get something that Longwood has, like, a lot of people I can tell you right now with anybody who got the Garnet King, they're telling all their friends, "Oh, yeah, this one was at Longwood Gardens Chrysanthemum Festival back in 22." I tell you, I promise you, they're telling everybody about that chrysanthemum. So, I'm definitely gonna have some more novelty type things. The other thing is more color variety, because not so much monochromatic. I think I had um, there were people who liked the color theme because everything worked together, and next year's colors will work together too, but I think the I think there was a little too much subtlety in some of the colors, but once again, some of the things it was more about bloom sequence and having consistent blooms throughout the summer, but once again, that was something that I think felt got lost on people. Do you I grow bells of Ireland or different green spiked flowers. So I have grown bells of Ireland. That is something that I am going to be growing for next year. As a matter of fact, I've started a couple of sprouts. I have a lot more seeds because it has a lower germination rate. I'm trying a new method of starting them that I read about in Lisa Mason Ziegler's book Cool Flowers, and it seemed to work. So one thing I never did with my bells of Ireland is I never soaked them. So right now I've got them in the freezer for 2 weeks, and then you soak them overnight, and then I'll plant them, and I'll put them on a my heating mat and see how many sprout. The ones that I have now, I need to go ahead and actually pot those up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in the gallon container, and those need the cool weather to sprout. Now, according to Lisa Mason Ziegler, those are hardy in zone 7, which I am, but they're going to be in a container. So I'm going to cover them with some frost cloth, and I'm hoping that should help. And because they need the cool for root development. So this should be interesting. The other green spiked flower I will have is celosia. I got some seeds from Floret. It's called Limonada, so it's a light green. Um, and so that is going to get attention because with celosia, People liked the celosia, but the thing is the color that I had, even though I know mine was a cut flower variety, I have similar red ones in the store. Um, I got a lot. Oh no. Um, hang on, guys. I may need to go. Oh no, my I think that was my okay. My internet connection got unstable. Um, I do have another cord, so I may have to go get it and plug it in directly into the router. But with the Celosia, I think if I offer some more unique colors, and Floret had a lot of unique colors. Also, Geoseeds has a lot of Celosia with different, more unusual colors. I think that'll get more people's attention. The other thing is next year, because I'm going to be doing like a gallon with four annuals in the thing, and a gallon container has a lot of root growth. I think the stuff will get a lot taller and bigger, and I think that's also going to attract a lot more notice because of how big it is. Because you know these cut flower varieties are tall and they're very beautiful, and I think it's going to get more notice. The other thing, oh, yeah, my I was watching on my thing and I noticed that my internet connection dropped. Yeah, I could see that I twanged out for a second. um I have a Ethernet cord that I can hardwire into if I need to, because there is a booster router right there, so I can plug in if I need to. The other thing is that people, okay, with sunflowers, people liked the colorful sunflowers. The chocolate cherry sunflower, that sold like crazy. People did not realize that sunflowers came in other colors besides yellow, and so the reddish brown, oh my goodness, people just absolutely loved it. The other thing is multi-branching. People did not realize that that sunflower could be multi-branching. And so when they realized that one plant was going to give them, you know, blooms throughout the season, that's what went. So the ruby sunflower, that went like crazy because it was red and multi-branching. Okay, guys, let me take a break because you know something I see right now. I just got that internet symbol. So let me go get my cord right now. Okay. Whew. I am back. And oh my goodness. Hang on for a second. Let me scoot this over and okay. So, okay. So I plugged that in. So Since it's hardwired, we should be okay now for the rest of the time. So let's see. All right, so let me scroll down. I saw a comment. Did I hear a puppy? Yes, you did hear a puppy. Bumpy, come here. Come here, sweetie. Come here. Can you say hi? This is Bumper Snoot. He's my little beagle. It's time for a while. Yes, I know. Okay. Off. Okay. Can you get off my lap, please? Can you get off my lap, please? Thank you. Okay. Bumper Snoot. People can't see me. Okay. So yes, this is the puppy that you heard. He was sitting next to me the entire time I was doing it. And then I have a cat who is hiding. Oh, she's on the other side. Bandy. Her name is Bandersnatch. Bumper Snoot, stop. Let me see if I can grab her. Hey, sweetie. Hey. Hey. This is the cat. Hey. So anyway, she does not. She tolerates me. I found her under a shrub in my yard, and I feed her, and she could care less. Yes, hi Bumper Snoot. The kitten is fine. When I got her, I found her in July. She was like 5 weeks old, and so she's getting big. When I got her, she was like 1.357 pounds. She's 5.7. So that she's well fed. She's got all these little beds. She has little, cat playpen that's got 4 levels to it. She has a little water fountain. Oh my gosh, look at that spoiled baby face. Yeah, she is she's a very pampered little kitty. And yes, she's sweet. She likes Bumper Snoot, which is kind of funny. So when I let her out in the morning, she runs right up to him and she's like rubbing her face against him. But me, she has no use for me whatsoever. So oh yeah, so with the sunflower. So I was talking about sunflower. So they like colorful sunflower and anything that's multi-branching. So next year, I'm going to be doing some ones by Sunflower Steve. As a matter of fact, I'm saving seeds, but based upon how his season went, it looks like he's going to be offering a lot of the Marlies. So people are going to like that. I'm doing vanilla ice sunflower, and so that's like a light creamy color, and it's multi-branching. And I've grown it before. It's really, really nice. And I think first off, I think people aren't going to realize that's a sunflower because of the color. The other thing is people have asked for native plants. Next year I do have some natives. I did look into so they're not like the hardcore native stuff. I think they would be referred to more as nativars. So they're cultivars of native plants. Because I gotta be quite honest, I'm not necessarily the biggest native plant person. I have some. I personally think natives are overrated. I think they're a reaction to the fact that with all these new varieties, a lot of them are bred to be sterile, and they don't feed pollinators. But I grow a lot of old-fashioned flowers from seed. It's like the pollinator haven. I think if people who are into natives, because actually I was discussing this with a master gardener from Burlington County. And so when she realized what I was actually doing, she was like, oh, and then she kind of changed her tone right there on the spot about natives. It's just that the type of plants that I offer are typically not available, and a lot of people don't know how to seed start. So that's that. And then let's see. The cat distribution system works its magic. I've been hearing a lot about this cat distribution system, but yes, yes, it did. My coworker's daughter came over to help me catch her. You know what? I the cat's mom floats around my property, and I didn't mind because I was like, okay, it'll keep rodents down. She's an indoor cat, and I'm sure she likes to hunt, so I'm sure if she sees anything indoors, like a mouse or something, she's gonna try to get it. But aside from that, she just hunts. She stalks the dog and that sort of thing. I work in a garden center that focuses on native plants. It's good to have a focus trying to fill every niche. Right. Well, the thing with the natives is that around here, because the one of the farmers markets that I'm going to do for next year, that was a big thing for her, was that I carried native plants. And so I went through the list of plants that I was already intending to grow. And like I said, I have a lot of nativars. Because with the natives, some people like the way I look at it is, for example, if it's a native to the United States, to me, I'm just like, well, I'm fine. Like, for example, zinnias. Zinnias originated in like Mexico. That's part of our continent, and that's why they do so well here. So for me, I'm just like, okay, so it's not from New Jersey. I don't really care. But some people are really, they only want the plants that are specifically native to New Jersey. So for example, like Baptisia, there is a specific Baptisia that's native to New Jersey, but Baptisia is in general is native to the US. And so next year I have, like, for example, like a white Baptisia, and I also have a cream colored Baptisia. Is it native to New Jersey and Pennsylvania? No. But is it a native plant to the US? Yes. I mean, is it going to work the same like a Baptisia? Absolutely. And the thing is, if you have Baptisia, I mean, one of the ones I'm going to show you guys that I got this weekend, it's a like a mutation or sport that was found in Pennsylvania. So it's just one of those things. Um, let's see. I grow natives at the back of my property, but they don't thrill me. I just do it for biodiversity and bees that live in the barn. And that was the conversation that I had with the master gardener, because I explained to her that, because I grow my stuff from seed, I have like 200 different cultivars of plants in my yard. And so, like I said, when I was telling her that, it was clear to me she didn't have that type of diversity. And I said, so at the end of the day, I have something for everybody. I was telling her how many different bees and wasps and that sort of thing that I was seeing. And so she was like, okay, well, let me take your card. So, if you love the meadow look, that's absolutely great. But I don't try to guilt people into thinking that's the only way to garden. The other thing is people have brought up were plants and veggies for containers. Obviously, with the cut flowers, a lot of the stuff is taller because you want the long stems. Um, didn't do any vegetables. The next year, I think I can get around. There's a couple things I can do to get around it. Number one, you know, I'm going to be marketing more. And so to my followers, I'll let them know that I have tomatoes, but it's not one of those things that I'll have a smaller selection. But the other thing is that people were really interested in things for containers. This winter, I'm going to be experimenting with growing vegetables indoors. I have found some varieties of things like string beans and even cucumbers that only get maybe like 18 to 24 inches tall. So they're perfect for indoor containers. And I can get fresh vegetables throughout the year. And obviously, I can start some and put them outside when it's appropriate. But I do know there was a couple of people who lived in townhouses and that sort of thing who had limited space and who were looking for, things that were smaller. Some of the string beans, they're vines, cucumbers. So, there's a lot of vegetables out there that get really big, but not a lot that are more compact. So, that's something that I would consider doing. And then on top of that, I could actually have be able to do some vegetables because it would be more specialty. The other thing is somebody asked for more shade plants. I do have some things like the Baptisia that will handle more shade. And I got an account with Ball Horticultural, and I think they had mini hostas. So I'm going to do some of that. So that is it for the Peonies, Petals, and Posies thing. Now, yesterday, if you guys are following me on Instagram, I went to a gardener's market. So I'm going to show you, because I went and I also went shopping in Skippick, but I'll show you some of the plants that I got. So this is a Baptisia. It's by this company called Brandywine Cottage. This one is called Baptisia. It's called Aurora. And this is what it looks like. And my understanding is that it starts off yellow and then the entire thing turns purple. And she said that this was a variety that somebody found in a field of Baptisia. It was like a one-off color. And then I'm going to try some ferns. So I have this one also by Brandywine Cottage, and this one is called Godzilla. And so this is what it looks like. I got two. I did ask because sometimes ferns can take over. This will not take over. She said that even with the spores, she said it has to be such exacting conditions that it just really doesn't. It really doesn't do anything. So I think it'll be fun. So this one gets 3 feet high and like 4 to 6 feet wide. I got two of those. I got a third one. This is Sheffield Pink Chrysanthemum. I first saw this at Hortulus Farm. I had two, but I like to plant. I wanted a third to kind of create like a triangle. So that one's a pretty one. I got that from Murano Garden, and I need to go back and visit her because I also got these. These are the mini. Oops, the mini hostas. So I got two of them. I think I would like to get some more though. This one is called Woodland Elf. And so this one gets, I think it said 8 inches tall and 12 inches wide. So I feel like I need to come up with like a garden scheme. I don't know if this is one I should kind of do maybe because I think this would be actually probably cute in a container since it doesn't get that big. But I may have to keep this one in winter, like and grow it under my grow lights, because it's kind of small and doesn't have much of a root system. But I may get more of these, but I think this will be a really cute container. And I got two of those. And then when I went shopping in Skippick, I got, let's see, it's a room spray. This one's called Noel and it has kind of like a berry, like Christmas type scent. And then went to this one place called Laurel and Hardy. Yeah, Laurel. Wait, hold on. Is it Laurel and Hardy? Oh no, not Laurel and Hardy. Floral and Hardy. And so they had these cute little earrings. They're gold. I don't know if you guys can see them. They're little bees. So I can't wait to wear those. Such a gardener thing to do. And then last but not least, I got these. This other store had these birthday cards and it was like for the year you were born. And so it gives you all this trivia about like, for the year of birth. So this is one's for my dad. And then this one is for my sister. And then I got one for my mom. So yeah, so it has some really fun stuff in there. I should have gotten one for me too. Don't ask me what I was thinking. But like it tells you things like born the same year. So for example, my sister was born in 1982 and like Kate Middleton was born that year. Dwayne Wade, Jessica Biel, Kelly Clarkson, and actually Prince William were born that year. And then let's see. Oh, in 1982, cellular telephones became available at the cost of $3,000. Let's see. Reverend Moon marries 4,000 in a mass ceremony. Okay. Oh, I remember this. The massive Tylenol recall as cyanide-laced capsules appear on the store shelves. Then they said the value of $1, the Dodge Ram truck cost $5,999. A bicycle was $99, and the microwave oven was $589. Interesting. And they tell you about the best picture, like movies and that sort of thing. So anyway, apparently there was some sort of, what was it? There's some sort of strike, they just said. Oh, actually, in 1982, Epcot opened. Oh, then NFL ended a 57-day strike. So, got a little trivia for you. So, anyway, those are fun. So, yeah, so that's kind of how my weekend went. And Happy Mac says, "I've never seen a mini before." Yeah, yeah, I saw the first time I saw one was it last year at one of the Hardy Plant Society tours that I did. It was like the members tour. A lady had a one in a container, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Oh wait, hang on for a second. When is I could have sworn one of these had a thing in it because you know now I'm thinking about it, I may be able to plant this outside because I think this is actually pretty cold hardy now that I think about it. But I just may leave it inside as a foliage plant. Then that Baptisia you bought, the color of the leaves is beautiful. Yeah, it is. I did like that. And yes, the cell phones back then, yeah, they were brick-sized phones. And then Chickadee Corner says we carry some of the mouse varieties of mini houses. Yes, I have seen them. And as a matter of fact, I think she did have it was a mouse variety. But Murano Garden, she had a lot. She brought a fair number with her, and I know she's got more at her place. And so I haven't been to Murano Garden this season because, I've been doing my own thing, but I may have to make a trip out there, just to get a few more of them because they were kind of cute. They were different colors and they're like like the normal hostas, just they're really, really tiny. So um yeah, so that was fun. So I that is it, guys. So at some point in time, I'll probably do another live because I pretty much have all of the seeds and that I'm doing for next year. So I can kind of go through. Oh, wait a minute. Guys, I just remembered something. I got some native seeds. There was a native wildflower place. Let me get the seeds and show you guys that because that's right. That's the other thing I got. Excuse me, kitty. Okay, so I just remembered. So there is a white one beer tongue, and this company is actually in New Jersey, a little bit north from me. So I forgot the beer tongue, is native, and so I got a white one, so that'll go with my scheme for next year. Then I got a Eastern Smooth Beer Tongue, and this one is a pale pink. So once again, that's going to go with my color scheme. And then I did got Great White Lobelia, and so it's a perennial with white spikes, and it blooms. It looks from August September. So this was what this one does. So I like. So there's some native plants I have an issue with the native plants that kind of look like the ditch. But some of these, I think, they do look nice and they're native on top of that. So I'm gonna try some of these. I probably need to. Oh, great! The great white lobelia says moderately difficult to germinate. You have to cold stratify for 8 weeks. Oh, great! I guess I need to start on that now. And let's see. Okay, so the beer tongue, I got to cold stratify for 8 weeks. And yeah, so I got to do cold stratification for 8 weeks. So I'll start on that this week. I'll just, I'm trying to think, do I have any vermiculite? I'll just put a little dirt in it and keep it damp and throw it in my refrigerator. And then I'll just make a note to take it out in January or something like that. So, uh, let's see, off subject, but if you haven't ordered your containers and supplies, do it very soon in case the shipping port strike happens on Tuesdays. My containers. Oh, so with my containers for next year, I ordered a pallet. It's already here. And in terms of my supplies, I'm trying to think what supplies. I'll check my supplies. Um, because I get my stuff from Greenhouse Mega Store. I think their stuff is all US. The shipping port strike. With the shipping port strike, is that for international? Is that US type thing? I did not hear about the shipping strike, so now I got to go research that. Lobelia is awesome. I have some. I have some red. She says I had okay luck with the lobelia after I stratified them, but also roughed the seed coat with sandpaper a bit. Oh, okay. Well, this is gonna be fun. I wonder with the lobelia, I wonder if I did because I remember there was this one. I got some stuff from Prairie Moon and they had a whole list of it like stratifying. I wonder if this is the type of thing where if I do like alternate, freezing, thaw, freezing, thaw, freezing, thaw, freezing, thaw for 8 weeks, would that actually help with the process? Because I find sometimes that does too. So something I will check out. But anyway, I will look more into that port strike. Because with the peonies I'm getting it from a farm in New York, and I believe this is their stock they already have. So it shouldn't be affected. Um yeah, but yeah, with all the seeds, I pretty much have every all the seeds and that sort of thing. So even with the dahlias, I'm getting them from like small like farms, they're really small farms, so they're growing their own stock. So, um, hopefully I won't have an issue, but now you're scaring me. So, anywho, guys, that is it. This live is like over an hour. I don't usually go that long. But anyway, I am going to go in my kitchen because I went pawpaw picking this week. And so pawpaws have a very short life. So I need to go and basically scoop out all the flesh, put them in bags, and throw them in the freezer until I'm ready to deal with them. I think I'm going to try some pawpaw butter or pawpaw jam, but I don't think I have any bourbon, so I'll have to get that this week. But I'm gonna try it. It's very interesting flavor. It's tropical. I like it, and I'm going to when I was at the farm, she told me where they got the trees. I'm gonna have to email them, but they actually do have some dwarf pawpaw trees that probably were my height, and I'm 5'4" and maybe 3 feet wide. So it's great for I think the average yard. And oh, guys, I forgot. I got books yesterday. Oh my goodness. I am not organized. Let me show you guys the gardening books I got because the gardeners market they had gently used books and they were $5 each. And I found books on topiary, orchid. Oh my goodness, hold on. Okay, I knew I was forgetting something. I did a lot of shopping yesterday. Okay, so first things first, I got the book of complete topiary. So a lot of this is, I would say, more for tabletop topiary. And actually walks you through how to make your own frames for something. Like, for example, like there's a thing on here for making a dinosaur and that sort of thing. So that should be fun. I guess once I get used to doing the small ones, I probably can do something big. I could probably scale it up. It also has how to do espalier because according to this book, espalier is a type of topiary. So they have, like, for example, the traditional horizontal cordon, the diagonal one, and then they even have something more complex like, oh, like for example, the serpentine one. Can you guys see that? Serpentine. Oops, hang on. Serpentine. And then they have this really interesting one where they got the Palmette Verrier, and then they have, where is it? Oh yes, they have this one right here, and it's like you cross them, so they give pretty good instructions on how to do it, and then how to do a knot garden and that sort of thing, and how to do a sundial, like for example in boxwood and that sort of thing, and then they have then they do verdant sculptures. So I didn't get through like the entire book, but it seems to be pretty, you know, gives you everything you would need to know. Um, I'm also going to go to some of like Longwood has a library that members you can use, and also Pennsylvania Horticultural Society too. And so then I got a book on growing orchids because I do have I have a vanilla, which is an orchid. And so I think this is going to be very, very, very helpful in terms of when to do what. And then last but not least, I saw this on Amazon and it was kind of expensive, but this is the American Horticultural Society's A to Z Encyclopedia of Garden Plants. So it's got more than 15,000 plants, 6,000 photographs, and it's got a lot. So it tells you, yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of information in here. I haven't really started looking at it, but yeah, I'm probably gonna sit here one day and like look at all the pictures. But like, oh, they have a whole section of dahlias. Hang on. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to go through all that just to see what they have to say about it. But they have like, it looks like they've got like classes and that sort of thing. So I think it's gonna be a good one to have. So okay, now I think I'm done. I think I've showed you guys everything that I bought now. Let's see. It says live plants shouldn't be affected, but the containers and peat moss, vermiculite, and such is shipped. Okay. I'm trying to think. Okay, well, with containers, like I said, I have my containers because I'm doing everything in gallon-sized containers. Oh, you know what? I think I'm doing 2-gallon containers for the peonies. So I'll call Greenhouse Mega Store tomorrow to make sure that it's something they already have in stock. If not, there's a couple of different. I do have some accounts with some supply wholesale suppliers, so that may be something I can get from them. And they're American based, and I think they use American based products. We'll see. I don't use a lot of peat moss. Don't vermiculite. I use Promix. Um, So Happy Mac said, I never had a pawpaw. Hope to at some point in time. You know, at Happy Mac they have like zero shelf life. I think it's like once you get them, like you got to use them within 2 days, which is why I'm going in there to like I put them in the refrigerator so it'll slow down everything. But yes, I there's a local farm that has it, so I would just Google pawpaw farms near me and see if you can find anything. Chickadee Corner says, I had a few pawpaws in the fridge that I forgot about, and so I'm going to throw them out by one of the tree and see if some of the seeds take. Yeah, I was getting seeds out. You know what? I want the seeds, but the thing is, the ones that I was picking, some of the trees are too big for my yard. I really want to get something dwarf. And Happy Max says, Chickadee, I hope they grow for you. Yeah, I hope they grow for you too. I've never tried to grow them from seed. Those seeds were kind of hard though. So I don't know. You're probably going to have to like scarify them and that sort of thing. So anyway, guys, I'm really done this time. So thank you guys so much for participating. Hope you guys enjoyed the little thing on how I did. And once again, if you're considering doing a farmer's market, check out the last 3 videos that I did so I can tell you, because I go through, how to pick the market and that sort of thing. So, Chickadee Corner, you have a good night too, and Happy Mac, no problem. But anyway, guys, this week I'm going to get back to doing doing some videos, and the last one I posted was like from March. So I got a lot of stuff to catch up with. But you know what, because it's fall, I know that yeah, I hope to see you soon too. I know because it's fall, everybody has more free time. So, you know, the videos will be you know, welcome relief because everybody else's garden is slowing down. I don't have very many tours of my garden, but I did tour a lot of other gardens this year. So that's what you guys will be saying. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.